Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of MC Jam Sessions on the Allium SMP. Today is all about prep, and that is right, prep for our first tournament that is going to happen tomorrow. So on the next episode, we're going to hopefully have some fun, bloodshed, and murder and all the other, Minecraft stuff. So let's just take a quick look at our shop here, and yeah, we're making a decent profit. I don't really want to collect this at the moment, but we're making a decent profit at our shop. Right around back here, yeah, we're making some diamonds. We're making some diamonds. Prep work for the competition is going to be incredibly boring, so I'm just going to hop over to a creative world and show you some of this redstone. Alright, we are going to disable shaders for this demonstration. Over here on the control mechanism, we have 5 different circuits. Yes, this is 5 different circuits, even though there's like 4 sets of buttons. And we're going to work from the right over to the left. First up, we have this rotating arrow, and you can kind of hear all the fun stuff going on behind us. This circuit cycles through the maximum number of lives. So let's say we have a competition of, I'll say 2 on blue and 2 on red. Every single time somebody in the blue category dies, one of these beacons will be covered up. And it'll go until all the beacons are covered up for one side or the other, and whatever side has a beacon remaining wins. Simple enough. We have this arrow inside of an item frame where when it's pointing straight up, it's 8. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back up to 8. Now, the numbers that I just counted off here they correspond to the max number of lives. So if I click it once, we have 1 life. So basically, 1 death means victory for the other team. Then we have, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, on up to 8. 8 lives for the team. Now obviously if somebody dies, they get respawned and that counts as 1 life. On the other side of this item frame with an arrow, we have a comparator output going across this redstone line, and the intensity of this output will trigger various different. So if I go to 1, it's not going to trigger anything because we always assume there's going to be at least 1-to-1 competitor. So there's really no reason to propagate that signal. 2, when we go to strength 2, it's going to fire this sticky piston, which sends the signal across this line all through here, and eventually it makes its way over here to cover or uncover a beacon. Set it to 3, and we'll see that the next one gets pulled. 4, next one, 5, next one, so on and so forth. It looks complicated, but it really isn't. Your observer will see this blue wool get pushed in front of it, which generates that pulse, which powers up this rail, which is seen by this, generates a pulse, powers up this rail, seen by this, generates a pulse, so on and so forth, all the way down here. Now over here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. It's max 8 lives, and we assume that there's at least 1 life per team, because if it was 0 versus 0, then nobody win. Anyways, we have to take these 4, the outer 4, detect them here to fold them up top. So now we have 3 rails on top of 4 rails. Each one of these will trigger a circuit to turn off a beacon. For instance, this sticky piston, which will uncover this guy, is watching this note block. This note block is being dinged by this observer. This observer sees this rail getting lit up, and of course we have to see it again and propagate the line down to essentially the same circuit. So this is basically 1 circuit for the blue side, copy paste, 1 circuit for the red side, obviously mirrored. We have an observer that feeds into a wool block that directly powers a piston, and then we have an observer that feeds directly into the piston. So this is offset of 2, offset of 1, and direct power. And for the rest of them, they're getting their power from underneath, and it's basically the same concept in reverse. This observer powers a piston directly. This observer powers redstone dust, which sets off that piston. This observer is watching this observer. So your rail goes off, propagates through, turns on the note block. This guy is just a chain of observers because you don't have to worry about anything up top getting powered. On the next circuit, the one right underneath, is the counter enable. So this is the respawn counter enable. This propagates through exactly the same way as the player select does. So it's this red wool. I hit the lever and it pushes this down. It propagates this signal through, out and around. and it's the red wool. So the red wool line comes all the way over here into the most complicated part of this circuit. Okay, here we have the broken out circuit without that annoying roof in the way. Let me go ahead and put some trap doors on these. So right now the game is enabled. So essentially when players die, we have this circuit over here that will tell us when a player died, and those are hooked up to beds. Okay, so the setup for this is you have your players come in here, they set their spawn in these beds over here, and then they go out and fight the tournament. And when they die, they come back into these little chambers, and they will only spawn on this spot right here where this pressure plate is, which is connected to a circuit underneath. So that pressure plate will activate this piston and send this observer down to generate a pulse on this rail, which is observed by this guy, and it's brought all the way down this line, to be seen by this observer, which is going to push this sticky line all the way up here to this observer, which comes through here and comes down to this rail here, hop over the blue line, and it eventually ends up on this observer. That's the observer that we have over here. So when we get a signal on this side, that means a player has died. Same kind of thing happens over here. So a player on the red side dies, it'll send a signal here. So right now we are set up to play. So let's say a blue player dies. The signal will go from this observer down to this rail over here, this cluster of observers. So we have a signal that's propagating over here, which will activate this piston feed tape. Simply put, this guy will push this block this way. This observer will trigger this piston, pushes everything that way. This observer will trigger this piston, pushing things that way, and this one will trigger it going that way. So basically we push one here and everything goes around. So let me go ahead and show that. Boop. So it's a piston feed tape. So the more players die, the more this piston feed tape moves. Underneath here we have an analog circuit. This redstone line is powered by this block on our feed tape, and the signal strength comes through here and then down the line. It'll activate the number of pistons corresponding to the number of deaths. So right now we're at 3 deaths. Let's click it once more. It increases the signal strength by 1, so we have whoop, 1 more death. We have a little sustain circuit in here. This comparator going into a comparator to prevent flashing. So basically this will sustain the signal while this block is moving. So we don't have any major flashes or hiccups on the redstone line over there. So you can see the redstone flicker for a moment on this block, but the other block doesn't really flicker because it's being sustained by this line over here. Hopefully that made sense. Now let's say I get to a point to where, you know, we finished the game, everybody on the blue side has died, and let's rack up some kills on this side. So everybody on the blue side died, red side has 3 more lives. And let's say we quickly want to reset this to get another game going. That is where this red reset line comes in. So what this will do is it will propagate a signal through here, comes out of this observer line, powers this line for a split second to move this redstone block away, and that redstone block is essentially the locking mechanism on this force reset circuit. So we have this line underneath. When we have a redstone block in this position, that means the circuit has been reset, which will turn on this redstone line, hitting this repeater, coming out to this redstone torch, turns off this redstone torch, which pulls this wool from this block. And this I hope you can recognize as a simple clock circuit. Let me go ahead and cause a death, a singular death. There we go. And we can see our clock circuit is indeed going. And it just sends pulses to that note block, which just pushes the feed tape along until we know that we are at our reset condition, which is our redstone block right here. It looks complicated, but it really isn't. This circuit is on the red side is basically just a mirror of on the blue side. So that's probably the most complicated part of the circuit, the player live select and the reset circuit. Next we have this open gate circuit. So for the open gate, when we flip this lever, this gate of gravity blocks and this gate of gravity blocks will drop at the exact same time. I wonder if I can set up to where we can see them both. There we go. I'm gonna flick the lever now, and give it a couple of seconds, and there. So both gates drop at the exact same time, so nobody has an advantage at the beginning of the game. And under here we have our falling gravity blocks, but as you run through, it doesn't matter if these gravity blocks are here or not. If you're running, you'll end up on this half slab and then up on the arena. So as soon as these blocks start to move, you can run through. And of course, when the action is over, or maybe you want to block your respawns from getting into the arena, you can flip the lever going up. And it's a simple flying machine to go up, and they both go up at about the same time as well. That is achieved through this purple line. So when I flip this lever, our lamp goes off, which powers this piston, which is seen by the observers, and the signal propagates through in the same sticky way as before, down to this purple rail. You can count the observers here if you want, but it's the same number of observers down this propagation line over to this circuit. Now this circuit is interesting. There's a lot going on here, and yeah, I'm not really gonna be able to explain it that well. It's of my own design, and it's complicated. I don't know what to tell you. I just said that, you know, the reset mechanism is the most complicated thing in the circuit. Now that I think of it, the gates is probably the most complicated thing in the circuit. Why is it so complicated? I don't know. It really can be simplified, I'm sure. Let me try to explain it at least. There are two parts of this circuit. So the first part of the circuit is, you know, signal propagates down here, and it can push this flying machine up. Now this flying machine has two parts of it. First off, it has the sticky part of it, which is the flying machine. Then it has this purple wool, and on top of that is the gravity blocks. So let me go ahead and boop, push this machine up. There's an automatic circuit that will lock in the gravity blocks, and it brings the flying machine back down because we need the flying machine out the way in order to drop the gravity blocks. The automatic return mechanism is triggered by this observer right here, and this is where the really compressed redstone is. So it's really hard to see inside of here, but there's our observer. It goes out to a small observer chain hitting this note block, and this note block will push this observer over to this piston, which sends this redstone block down, and that will trigger a set of pistons. This set of pistons will trigger the observer blocks, causing the flying machine to go back down, and this piston right here will essentially lock the sand in place. So it'll take this bottom gravel block and it'll push it into this little channel right here. So it pushes it into that little channel right there, and then these arms will hold on to the gravity blocks. Now, when we do the reverse of this and retract these pistons, the sand needs to fall on full blocks, and these guys aren't full blocks. The honey block isn't a full block, so I have a row of wool blocks here to not break the gravel. So let's go ahead and trigger the gravity blocks going down. There you go. So it's a circuit. Basically, we have a latch on these pistons, and we have a latch on triggering the flying machines. Hopefully that made sense to some of you. It's a complicated circuit. Sorry. Now this is the best circuit. This is the best circuit by far. It's really not that hard, but it's really cool. Now I'm just gonna walk to show you. So it triggers this green block. So this line comes through here, and so right now this hopper is locked and this hopper is open. So this will come over here to power this hopper to lock it. So what we're going to see is, first off, signal on one side triggers, and then after all the items flow from one hopper to the other one's going to trigger. Our comparator will stay on just as long as there's any number of items here, and then when this block moves this way, this guy will start draining into this guy, which means both of these pistons will be open, which means this signal will fire, and then eventually this piston will close, firing this signal. That is critical for the timing of this circuit, and you'll see why in just a second. Let me get lined up here. What this circuit will do is it will drop away the walls, and then it'll move the walls out the way, and then it'll send the fireballs through. So let's go ahead and do the opposite of that. Oh, that just looks so cool. This is the one that I'm actually worried about on server. I don't know how well that's going to work. I might have to adjust the timing to make it work on the server. But anyways, let me hit the lever and you can see it happen over here. Fire one and fire the other. Down below here, we have another clock, just a simple etho hopper clock over here. And you can see this mechanism going, and that's essentially the thing that triggers the fireballs. Now if we want more fireballs, we'll reduce the number of items in this hopper. If we want less, we'll increase it. Each fire circuit has a randomizer built into it. Basically, we have this dropper here that pushes an item up into our hopper. And depending on what that is, it may or may not generate enough of a signal to actually fire this dispenser. And for the circuit for the wall dropping out, you can kind of see what's going on here. The wall and piston are pushed down into place, and then the piston is turned on to push the wall into place. So first circuit is up top, and the second circuit is down below. So you can see it gets pushed out and then pushed in. And then when I flip the switch again, it'll go in reverse order. First the bottom is going to trigger, which pulls the wall back, and then the top's going to trigger to pull the wall and the piston out of the way of the fireball. This next circuit is super secret. It is so super secret that I don't actually have anything implemented. It doesn't do anything yet. Ideally, this is going to be a creeper launcher. So yeah, if anybody at the server is watching and they want to do this circuit, go from this level, punch out a hole right here, just like so, something like that, and launch some creepers through here. Don't know how exactly you're going to launch them, and ideally you're not launching them into the audience, so make sure you get enough airtime with them, I guess. Somebody can help me design this, please. Thank you. But yeah, that is the arena, and it's going to be very dangerous, and we're going to hopefully see our first competition in the next episode. I will eventually be adding more traps into this arena because, I mean, the fireballs themselves and maybe some creepers, this isn't scary enough. We want to be able to get more kills. We want to get a lot of arena kills. So yeah, back on the server, I'm going to continue to work on the boring prep. I'm about a quarter of the way through the time lapse, but it's a huge time lapse, so it might take me a month to do all the editing, but yeah, we'll see. Oh yeah, I wanted to check out something. Oh, here it is. Check this out. Oasis. Yeah. Oh, we got to do this with shaders. There we go. Look at this. This is good. So we got some nice seats here. You can check out the fire and everything. This is pretty cool. Oh, he's got some notes here. Let's not get burned by the fires. Oasis player pit stop. Free rockets, relax, refuel. Oasis player pit stop. Mending, massage, happy ending, spirit. 1 spirit of XP. There's nothing in here, my dude. Oh wait, you pay here. Okay. Did I put something in there? It was pulled through. Whoa! I hear it. I don't see it. Whoa! that was cool. I think I got recharged. And I didn't have any of my tools up, so I kind of just wasted it. That's pretty cool though. All right. I like that. That's pretty cool, Herm. So I guess we'll be on the lookout for more Oasis like that. That was pretty cool. I have no idea where it's coming from. That's so cool. There should be orbs somewhere. There should be orbs. I don't know where to go. Oh! Ah! I didn't have... Ah! I didn't have my tool up. Alright, whatever. Free dimes for you, Herm. Alright, well, if you liked what you saw... I told him the spam chat. That's hilarious. Hey, if you liked what you saw, and I'm like just out of render range of those boxes, but if you liked what you saw, like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. Oh, and for every subscribe I get off of this video, so every subscribe over the next week or whatever, I'm going to be throwing a diamond into Herminator's Oasis. So, yeah, I want you to make me go broke. Let's see if we can hit 30. See you next time. Bye.